and gentlemen, Professor John Glynn, who was just admitted as an Emeritus Professor, is our guest speaker this morning. Please join me in welcoming him.
Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, colleagues, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. As is customary, let me firstly offer heartfelt congratulations to our graduands on the successful completion of their degrees. Today is a day of celebration as another chapter in your life's journey ends and another is about to open. To get to this ceremony today is a significant achievement, one which has required commitment, discipline, and hard work. I also think we can all agree that your achievement would not have been possible but for the support of others. So the significant others that are here today with you in this hall or wishing you well from afar deserve a very special vote of appreciation. Looking around this hall, I see proud parents, grandparents, partners, friends, teachers, tutors, and other members of the broader university community, all of whom can take pride in the various contributions they have made and who now are here to applaud and recognise your achievements. The fact that you have graduated from the University of Wollongong, a top-tier ranked university worldwide, puts you in a class of elite graduates. You don't just leave this ceremony today and move on. You now form part of the wider UOW family and will henceforth become connected through our domestic and global alumni networks. And I therefore want to welcome you into that alumni family. The Faculty of Business has literally thousands of graduates now working with top companies, not-for-profit organisations, and government agencies both here within Australia and overseas. Now that you've gained your goal of graduating within your chosen field, the challenge now is for you to define your success on into the future. In the words of Albert Einstein, always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other one thing. We might briefly think about some other famous people and what factors define their success. For instance, we could consider Jack Welch, the former CEO of General Electric, and arguably one of the best business leaders of all time. He was, in his day, one of the youngest CEOs to be appointed and retired as one of the richest. So what made him happy? And perhaps more importantly, did it make him happy? In his own words, Jack has stated that his studies at undergraduate, master's and doctoral level were but starting points. His greatest learning came from experience, and experience not just of achievements, but also of great failures. The ability on occasions to pick yourself up and get back up takes resilience, resourcefulness, and determination. Qualities I'm sure you have all experienced on the journey to completing your degrees. These are the same qualities that bind other prominent and successful people. The late Steve Jobs, who was fired from the company he co-founded, Apple Computers, Steve has been quoted as saying, "It was the best thing that could happen to him, as it freed him up to focus on bigger and better things." Another well-known businessman, Sir Richard Branson, who in 1984 launched Virgin Atlantic and is now the founder and chairman of the Virgin Group that includes more than 400 companies, when asked why he decided to start an airline, he said, "My interest in life comes from setting myself huge, apparently unachievable challenges and trying to rise above them." All of these people had innovative ideas and the conviction to follow them through. They pushed the boundaries of not only the imagination, but also of what was considered acceptable. Each has demonstrated a passion to learn about life and the world and to keep learning, and they have invested a great deal of themselves in their business relationships and networks. But you don't have to have a famous name to be successful. I can reflect on my own career. I was brought up in County Galway in the west of Ireland, in a village of just over 200. In my early teens, my family migrated to England. Migrant families always want their children to have a good education. It is, of course, a pathway to a better life. And I had a good education. My 3 academic and 2 professional qualifications have so far helped me survive 11 positions with 6 organisations, plus over the years 5 advisory positions with the United Nations, the European Union, the OECD, the UK's National Audit Office, and here in Australia with the Australian Audit Office. But as the Vice-Chancellor alluded, my first position was as a graduate engineering cadet with British Aerospace. I have always been fascinated by technological advances, and in those days this was one of the key industries to be in. It took some effort to get this coveted position, several rounds of interviews, good high school results, support references, etc. It was a fascinating environment to work in. I recall in those early years on many Fridays taking my lunchbox off to one of the hangars and listening to a fellow called Barnes Wallis. Then he was one of the UK's top inventors, whom older members of the audience might recall was the inventor of the bouncing bomb that featured in the movie The Dam Busters. He gave impromptu lectures on some of his latest ideas and inventions, and in those days he was heavily into hovercraft and maglev train design and technology. I used to marvel at how this man, then in his mid-70s, saw our future transport needs as he looked 50 to 100 years ahead. But within 12 months, and this was back in the 1970s, this industry was in turmoil. There was global overcapacity of aircraft design and production. At my plant, they announced 8,000 redundancies in one day. But I've always had great mentors throughout my career. So when I got over the initial shock of realising I would not have a cosy and rewarding career for life as an aeronautic engineer, I changed tack and instead trained as an accountant, the new specialist degree of its day, along with extracurricular studies in project management. As I reskilled, I was moved onto the project team of Concorde 001, the world's first and only supersonic airliner. But 46 years later, Concorde has retired, and recently so have I. The aerospace industry in those years continued in overall decline. I survived 3 further rounds of retrenchment as I pondered my future. I took advice from whoever was willing to offer it, weighed up the options, and I moved career into the public sector, becoming Deputy Finance Director at Guy's Hospital in London. And I can tell you what a culture shock. Moving from an environment where only the bottom line mattered to one where no one really cared or knew about the bottom line, and the constant refrain was that there was never enough funding. A senior hospital consultant said to me early on, "If you do not secure the additional funding we need, lives will be lost and it'll be your fault, not ours." To them, life would be all the better if we had had an open check policy. My role was still primarily focused on projects. I helped rebuild a major part of this famous London teaching hospital. I actually closed down some smaller, inefficient feeder hospitals as well. And I developed a unique program whereby every qualifying child in the United Kingdom could have a kidney dialysis machine installed at home. I soon came to realise that though very different, I was enjoying this change in direction, and yes, I could continue to use many of my financial and project management skills, even though the environmental and contextual features were so very different. Still more turmoil, this time in the form of Attila the Hen, as she was then known, the late Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. It was Thatcher who started the worldwide revolution in what became known as New Public Management, outsourcing, importing private business thinking into the public sector, managing by performance indicators, etc., etc. I again changed career and became a management consultant with Price Waterhouse. As part of a small team of 4, 2 redeployed internal partners and 2 newly recruited managers. I was the one with the so-called expertise on health and central government, and my colleague was the expert on local government, tasked to establish their new UK and European public sector practice. Price Waterhouse had almost no business expertise in working with the public sector, but they knew, along with many other accounting and consulting firms, a fruitful business opportunity when they saw one. Within 18 months, we had racked up just over 1.8 million in consultancy fees as the practice grew by leaps and bounds. By day, we worked with clients, and by night, we ran in-house classes to train up our teams and wrote the new tender proposals. This was the era of just-in-time consulting. Sound qualifications and experience had yet again fitted me up for another change in career. I was working across the United Kingdom and in between times spent many weekends in Paris helping to establish the French partnership team as the ideology of new public management started to spread globally. By now I was a senior manager and soon to become a partner. So to most of my friends, it was quite a surprise, therefore, when I turned down the chance for partnership to become an academic. I have to tell you, in those days, university life was somewhat different, and I managed, indeed was encouraged, to retain a fractional advisory appointment with Price Waterhouse and later with Deloitte Haskins and Sells, as they were then known. Moving rapidly ahead to today, the University of Wollongong is the third university I have been fortunate to work for, and I can tell you quite simply the best. Working with great students, such as yourselves, and a great team of colleagues committed to making a real difference to society in terms of their teaching, supervision, and research. As you can see, I've had a breadth of experience in different industries, moving from engineering to accounting, from the commercial sector into the public sector, then as a management consultant, and finally into academia. I truly believe this wouldn't have happened without my university degrees. Along the way, you recognise that we are all now in the age of lifelong learning. And I believe you, more than I ever did, will need to continue to undertake further study and re-skill as you advance your careers. So as I leave you here today, stay focused. You have attained excellent qualifications. Now gain experience and then more experience. Address each challenge as it comes along. Stay positive and you will surely succeed. Be happy and always respectful and appreciative of those around you. Your challenge, therefore, is to define your own success and follow in Einstein's footsteps by forming your own resolution towards it. I thought, given my Irish background, that today I could do no better than leave you with an Irish blessing. May you have the hindsight to know where you have been, the foresight to know where you are going. May you have all the happiness and the luck that life can hold. And at the end of your rainbow, may you find your pot of gold. My very best wishes to you all for your achievements to date and for your futures as you embark on the next stage of your life's journey. Congratulations.